Good evening, everybody. It's John here from Tutor to You, welcoming you along to the first in our little mini series of Revision Blast live streams for GCSE Economics. We're days away from the first exam, aren't we? So we're here tonight to give you some little bits of insight or test your knowledge and understanding, particularly the micro side of the specification tonight. And I'm very glad to be joined by Nikki. Good evening, Nikki.
Good evening. Hello, everyone.
Hello to everybody. I'm just looking down my little clock here. We've got quite a few of you. Listen, if you've not been to one of these before, what we're going to do is we've got 6 different activities. They're fairly fast. Quite a few of them require just one word answer or sometimes just one letter answer. And we would love to see those in the chat window, in your YouTube window, as it were. So please do join in and give us your responses to the questions. Listen. You might find that you know every single answer to every single question. And if that's the case, brilliant, you're in a really good position. If there's anything here tonight that you don't quite understand, that's a little trigger for you, isn't it, to say, right, what else do I need to do before I get into my exam? Now, we're going to use a little PowerPoint presentation as the backdrop to our questions. That'll be available to you as soon as this live stream is finished. So if you want to go through any of those questions again, you can do. And this is also being recorded. So if you wanted to rewatch it and slow any part of it down, then you can also do that. And of course, if you are watching us on replay, a big welcome to you as well. Nikki, I think we're ready. Shall we get started?
Let's get started.
Brilliant stuff. Okay, here we go. Sorry, there we go. I was muted the entire time. I'm hoping you can all hear me now and have a look across at the responses. Apologies, that was my fault. I was muted. Guys, this is our emoji truffle. Sorry, Nikki. Brilliant. I think we are back on now, aren't we?
Yeah.
So here we go. So the glass required to manufacture a double glazed window is an example of a fixed cost. Is that true or is that false? So if you didn't hear me before, which you probably didn't, what I'd like to see is a T or an F or a smiley face for a true, a not so happy face if you think that's false. I'm still not getting some responses in. Oh, we are getting some in now. Apologies. Massive apologies to my... I'm doing so many different things at once. So we've got Fortnite coming in there. It's saying false. Bones as well. Glebe and Aylin, thank you for your response. No emojis yet. No emojis. Womp does think it's true. Baywood thinks it's false. Let's see if we get a couple more answers. Alex, thank you. Ring, thank you as well for your responses. Isabel, false as well. We've got loads and loads of people saying false. Let's have a look. See whether you are correct in assuming that it is false. It is false, of course. What we can say is that the glass required as part of a double glazed window will be part of the raw materials. Raw materials are much more likely to be variable costs. If we wanted an example of a fixed cost, I've put one up on the screen there. Advertising costs are more likely to be fixed cost. Right. Apologies again once more for my my mic problem there. Let's try another one of those. Now you've got the idea. Here we go. A firm increases the size of their output, they're likely to see an increase in costs. As firms increase the size of their output, they are likely to see an increase in costs. This is an example of diseconomies of scale. A diseconomy scale. Now, let's see what you think to that one. Let's see your thoughts here. So let's see what we think to this one. I'll put one or two little responses on the screen if I've got time. One or two of them coming in here. Lots of you, I think, saying false. Kitty, thank you for going with an emoji at last. We've got a little emoji in there. It's our first one of the evening. Glebe has also put an emoji. I think they think that it's true. EasyJet's true. Now, it's an interesting one, this one. Let's have a look at what we think the answer. Thank you to those of you who are having a go. I'm going to put the answer on the screen. You have to unpick the statement a little bit. This time. And it's deliberate, the wording of the question, to make you think a little bit more about what is meant by the phrase economy and diseconomy of scale. We know that as a firm increases in its size, it will see an increase in costs. Primarily the variable costs, the fixed costs will remain pretty static. But when we're talking about economies of scale, what we generally are talking about is a fall in the unit cost, the average cost of manufacturing those products. So in the end, what we should see is that decrease. Now, that in itself is not an example of a diseconomy. A diseconomy scale is that point at which our average costs start to increase. Now, what we know is generally as output increases for many firms, they will see this decrease in average cost, and then it will start to increase. And you need some examples of diseconomies of scale for your examiner. So we've got one on the screen there. Poor communication. What happens is you get lots and lots of workers in a workplace, more and more workers, more and more managers, and as a consequence, the communication between those workers becomes more and more difficult and sometimes less accurate. And there's an example of diseconomies of scale. Right, Nikki, is your mic on? Can I hear you?
Yeah, I hope so.
I can definitely hear you. I can definitely hear you. So well done to you. That's well done to you, and not so well done to me. Here we go. Here's our first multi-choice question.
Right. Okay. First multiple choice question is nice and easy, very quick. Hopefully, get a nice quick set of answers coming in. Just type the letter that you think is the right answer to this question. Which of these is not considered a factor of production? So Bones is saying C, Kitty saying C, Sky, Kieran saying C. Oh, I think you're all right. Far too easy, isn't it? Capital, land, and enterprise are all factors of production. Government is not. It's an economic agent. So nice, easy start. Let's get cracking. Let's go to the next one. Here we go. So Hattie has bought out her neighbour's farm. The increase in wheat output justifies the purchase of a tractor. This is an example of what type of economy of scale. So let's see what we've got. Gaming Supreme, are you on the last question or are you on this question? Let's see. Oh, no, we've got Samir coming in with D. What else have we got? Let's see. Who else have we got answering these questions? Dominic's coming in with D. Kieran is D. Let's have a look and see. Can we justify the purchase of a new tractor? We can. It's technical. Alex, well done. You've got the right answer. SHMS, you did too. Well done. So it's a technical economy of scale when we're increasing output in this way and we can justify new capital equipment. Well done. That's excellent. Let's move on to the next question. Which of these factors is likely to make a game software firm's elasticity of supply more inelastic? So be careful when reading the question. It's easy to rush, particularly in an exam. Read the question carefully. Which of these factors is likely to make a game software firm's elasticity of supply more inelastic? So let's have a look. We've got some answers coming in. Zara's saying A. Connell saying A. Kitty, you're on fire tonight. A. You're saying A. Dominic's doing really well as well. He's saying A. Bones X8 is saying A. Let's have a look. We want the firm's elasticity of supply to be more inelastic. So the answer we have is A, the requirement for highly skilled software engineers. Because, of course, it's going to be difficult to find those software engineers. There's not going to be very many of them around. And therefore, even if market price does go up for game software, we can't just suddenly increase supply as a result of that price going up, because we need to identify and hire these highly skilled software engineers that are few and far between. So that's why the answer is A. Okay, we're on to question 4 on the multiple choice. Spotify has followed the example of its main competitors and increased the price of its monthly subscription. This could be described as an example of what? Okay, let's see what we've got. Lots and lots of you answering tonight. You're doing really well. I'm seeing lots of brilliant answers come through. I think you're ready for your exam. Bring it on, bring it on. So what do we think about this one? A little bit tricky. I've got lots of B's coming through. Baywood, EasyJet. Zara's come in with a B. Nisa's come in with a B. Reng. You seem... Oh, we've... Master J's got an E. I don't know where that's come from. Alex is saying C and Kitty's saying B. So let's have a look. Competitive pricing, and this can happen. Don't forget, this firm needs price changing power, so it can't be A market with a large number of suppliers, because they wouldn't have price changing power. Same with C, consequence of a highly competitive market, you probably wouldn't have price changing power. It isn't an example of product differentiation, because that's trying to make the customers perceive your product as being different. So by elimination, we could have ended up at B, but well done those guys who knew that this was a consequence of oligopolistic power. So answer John will put up as B any second now, I'm sure.
Now, Nikki.
Hello, John. Are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Well, we seem to have lost communication with John again.
Yeah. Okay.
Is he there?
Yeah, Nikki. I'm afraid we're having a few
Hi, John.
technical gremlins. You can't hear me, can you? You can't hear me. Right. So let's put in the chat window.
Okay. So we seem to have got John frozen. I'll tell you what I will do. I guess everyone else can still hear me.
I'm sorry, everybody. That's a little technical gremlin. I'm hoping that Nikki is just going to rejoin us really quickly. Let's see if we can get her back on the screen. Hello, Nikki. You're back with
Hello
us.
there. What's happening tonight?
Little
We got
technical gremlin. We were already
crazy.
on the. We had the answer on the screen when you were having those little technical difficulties. So, should we move on
Oh,
to question 5?
yeah. Question 5. Right. Which of these is an example of where an increase in demand in the product market leads to an increase in demand for the factor market? So I'm looking for an answer. And what I'm also looking for is a definition or the word. Which technical phrase are we talking about here? Okay, so 5. Which of these is an example where an increase in the demand for the product market leads to an increase in demand for the factor market? So let's have a look. What are we looking for? We are hoping. So Kitty's saying C. Well done, Kitty. I think you might be right. The one is saying C. Can you tell me? Oh, I did see it. Zara, you did. Derived demand. Absolutely excellent. Where we have a derived demand, where an increase in the demand in the product market leads to an increase in the factor market. Well done. That's perfect. That's excellent. Okay, I shall hand back before there are any more gremlins to John.
Thanks, Nikki. Brilliant stuff. Okay, let's keep going with that then. Right, slightly different way of doing this question. What I'd like you to do is you're just going to give me A or B, and we're going to put a word into our sentence. Now, the key thing here is to have a look at that very first sentence at the top of the screen. The price elasticity of demand for a product is minus 1.4. So immediately you need to have a think about what that number means. What do we understand by price elasticity of demand? What do we understand by the number minus 1.4? And we're going to give you 3 words that are missing. So the demand for good is price what. Now you can either give me an A for elastic or B for inelastic. Let's see what people are saying to this one. I think we've got Reng in there, Zara's in there. EasyJet is actually giving me the word elastic. It's minus 1.4. Gaming Supreme. Let's have a quick look. Bones times 8 is giving us a little bit more of a definition, which is brilliant. Thank you for that. Dan, Kitty, let's have a look. We've got Skibidi there. Skills issue as well. Brilliant stuff. Well done to you. Let's have a quick look. I'm going to agree with you. It is the word elastic. So remember what your examiner is going to ask you to be doing. You probably will have to make an elastic. If you're going to make an elasticity calculation, they'll give you some numbers and you'll have to make it. At the end of that, they'll want to know what that number means. And we know, yeah, our elasticity of demand, our PD is always going to be a minus number. But if that number is over the value of 1, we know it's elastic. If it's below the value of 1, it'll be inelastic. Now, the key then is, now we know whether something is elastic or elastic, what does that actually mean? So let's have a think about that second one that's missing. A change in the price will lead to proportionally what? So this is a definition question, isn't it? Imagine that you're asked to give a definition for elasticity, and there's your phrase. Your change in price will lead to proportionally what? Is it higher or lower? Let's see what we're getting here. I'll have a look, and I've got Joshua in there, Samia. Zara's in again. Some wonderful answers from Zara tonight. Thank you. Any more? Fortnite's come back. Felicitas has gone with higher. You're all there. Well done. It is higher. A change in price will lead to proportionally higher change in quantity demanded. That's what a business wants to know, doesn't it? It wants to calculate its elasticity. It gets a number. In this case, it's got minus 1.4. That means they can say that it's elastic, which means that if they change the price, the expected change of demand is going to be proportionally much higher. So that leaves us with the last bit of this one, doesn't it? Let's have a think about 3. An increase in price is likely, therefore, to lead to what in revenue? A, an increase. B, a fall. Think about that one. We know our product is elastic. We know that if we change the price, we're going to see a disproportionately higher change in its demand. So what happens to revenue? And it's a really important point this to bear in mind, because that's why lots of businesses want to know their elasticity. By knowing their elasticity, they'll know the impact of any change. We're getting lots coming in here. Felicitas has come back with a 4. Gaming Supreme's going with B. Well done. Samisha's gone with a decrease. Renga's gone with a decrease. We've got the Fraser fall there. Have we got any more? Joshua, I think that might be the answer to the question before. Baywood's going with fall as well. Most of you are going with fall. Well done, it is. So just a reminder then of the importance of what we're trying to do with this question. We're saying to ourselves, what does that number mean? What's our definition? And what does the change in a price actually mean in terms of the proportionate change in demand and therefore the change in revenue? Okay, well done with that one. Let's keep going with that as a concept. The coffee shop market would be considered an oligopoly market, as a few firms dominate its provision in the UK, and we've got some examples there. This means that companies like Costa, Cafe Nero, Starbucks, there are a few others I'm sure you could list. In fact, if you want to, give me a few other of the major coffee shop firms in the UK. So alongside the 3 that I've given you, that would be good to see as well. Anyway, what does it mean in terms of their level of market power? Let's put 1 or 2 of the answers in here. Yes, well done to those of you who haven't got Connell as well. Kieran as well, Joshua has gone with a slightly different answer. Samia's gone with A, though. Kitty's gone with A, Zara. It is, of course, it is higher market power. An oligopoly market, as with a monopoly market, so if we talk about these what's called concentrated markets, or markets where there's very little competition, that means those firms have higher proportion of market power. I'm just checking my window in case I've got any other examples there of other firms that might exist in this market as well, just in case anybody's put anything in. Let me have a quick look. No, I haven't got any more answers there. So a domination of the market, what does that mean? It means that they can impact upon price. In what way then? As a consequence, prices are likely to be what? Are they going to be higher or lower? Let's have a look at what we think to this one. Bones is going with higher again. Let's have a look what else do other people think. Somebody's come back with came back with Greggs as another example. Now, Greggs is an interesting one, isn't it? If you ask somebody to say what is Greggs, very few people say it was a coffee shop, but actually Greggs is the biggest seller of takeaway coffees in the UK. So definitely they fit into this market at some point. Okay, let's have a look. We're getting lots of A's coming in. Felicitas coming with A. It is A, of course it is. It's higher. So what is the problem of having markets dominated by just a small number of firms? The main issue can often be the fact that they collectively start to charge relatively higher prices. I don't know how often you use coffee shops or have been using coffee shops in recent times. Perhaps it's a great place to go away and do some revision, I don't know. But the prices have started to really rocket, haven't they? Now, what is interesting about the coffee shop market, of course, is although it is dominated by those firms, it does still have some independents working in there. And you can probably, if you go to your own high street, the nearest high street to where you live, you will find the odd independent coffee shop there. And they potentially offer a little bit of competition. But if you go to a Costa in one town, the prices are very similar to other towns. A huge proportion of market domination. What's your nearest coffee shop, Nikki?
We've got a wonderful one run by a Scandinavian lady called Scandimania. And they do the best pastries.
And how are the prices in comparison to the national chains?
Fairly high. Okay. They all are these days, aren't they?
They are. There's lots of high cost inflation. That's a bit of macro for us for next week, isn't it? Right, I'll leave you to the bubble quiz, Nikki.
Right. Well, the bubble quiz is one of my favourite. I love this. So it's a little bit more tricky than the multiple choice we were doing earlier because there isn't just one answer, or there might not be. There might be more than one answer. There might be one answer. There might be no answers that are correct. So what I want from you is the list of letters which you think are correct. I've got 2 easy ones to start you off with. So here we go. Which of the factors of production are correctly matched with their reward? So just give me the letters which have the correct answers. So let's have a look and see what's coming through. What have we got? A and C's coming through. A and C. A, Lots of A and C's are coming through. So we're matching up the factor of production and their reward. So A, land with rent, sounds absolutely right to me. Enterprise and interest, is that right? Labour and wages is definitely right. Capital and profit, they're the wrong way round, aren't they? So A and C is the correct answer. Tom, well done. Dominic, Felicitas, Savage, you'll have to put up with me for a little bit. Dominic, well done. Skills issue, you got the right answer. Absolutely. Fortnight, look at that. Spot on. Well done. Okay, let's have a look at number 2. Number 2 is quite straightforward as well. Which of these are characteristics of services? So I need you to read through and then give me the letters. So we're looking for characteristics of services. Josh has come straight in with AC. AC. So Connell has come in with B and D. Bones has come in with B and D. And then Bones has said B, just second time round. The one has said B. Gaming Supreme BD. Musa BD. Bones back to BD. Oliver BD. Rats. Right, let's have a look. B and D. So at the end, oh, you're absolutely spot on. Well done. At the end of the process, ownership remains with the supplier. Now, remember that is a proper definition of a service in your exam with your exam boards. So you have to remember that. It cannot be weighed. No, a service cannot be weighed. Clearly, C, it can be returned, has to be a physical thing. And A, at the end of the process, ownership transfers to the buyer. That is a physical thing as well. So hopefully that was quite straightforward. Right, bubble quiz number 3, a little bit more complicated. Which of these accurately show interdependence between economic groups? So the actions of one of the economic groups will affect the actions of another. So which of these economic groups or economic agents shown on the screen have interdependence? So, what are we looking for? Does government need consumers? Bones says A and government needs consumers and producers to provide tax revenues. Is that true? Bones said C. Producers need consumers to provide labour. That's very true, isn't it? Felicitas is saying B. Gaming Supreme is A and B. Connor saying A, B and C. Fortnight A, B. Says everybody seems to agree that A. Kitty saying A and B. So let's see what we've got for the... Oh, look, it's all of them. I don't think I saw... Oh, Kieran, I stand corrected. You said all 4, A, B, C, and D. So producers need consumers. Producers and consumers need governments to provide public services, and consumers need producers to provide a salary. So there's interdependence. It was all of them. It certainly was, Dan. Did that take you by surprise? Well done. Well done, everyone. Well done for... Tom put them all. Yes, you did, Tom. Well done, Tom. Right. Okay. Yes, I've acknowledged you, Tom. Well done. Right, last bubble quiz. Which of these would make the demand curve for plumbing services to shift to the right? We want the demand curve for plumbing services to shift to the right. So a little bit of application here. What are we looking for? We want demand curve to shift to the right. So let's see who's coming in with some answers. Connell says A and B. Well done. I think you... An increase in the size of population. Does that mean we all need more plumbing services? An increase in disposable income? What will we do if we've got more disposable income? Might we have our bathroom changed, have new tiles, have that new swanky shower put in? Felicitas, Alex is all saying A, B. What about an increase in the price of plumbing materials? That's cost, so that would affect supply curves. So you're right to ignore C. An increase in the price charged by plumbers. Well done. That was actually the red herring in there. D would cause a movement along, or a slide, as some teachers call it. So A and B was perfect. Well done, guys. Brilliant. Hand back to John. Oh, I've got one. Oh, I beg your pardon. I've got one more. Sorry. Which is going well tonight, John. Which of these might be considered demerit goods? So we're looking for demerit goods. Remember, one of these is this is AQA only.
Yeah, I was just going to put that point out to everybody who's watching. This is our one question that is aimed solely at AQA tonight. So if you're taking OCR, if you're doing the Edexcel IGCSE, they don't talk about market failures in the same way as AQA. So if you don't know this question doesn't mean anything to you, or you don't know the answers, don't worry too much, unless you're taking AQA, of course.
So if you're doing AQA, anyone here doing AQA, what's some answers? Let's have some answers in. Alex, A, C, and D. Waitman Bro, C, D, and A. Which of these are demerit goods? Kieran, A, C, and D. I think you are all spot on. They're things that perhaps we overconsume because we've got a lack of information about them. Well done. Brilliant.
Brilliant stuff. Wonderful. Thanks very much, Nikki. Right. Okay. We're down to our last two little activities. So let's have a look at this one. We're saying on the flip side, what we're looking for you to do with this question, a little bit the same with our last activity in a few moments as well, is have a think about the statement that's made on one side of the coin, and can you think of the opposite response? What would be the alternative response that you would give if you're weighing up the pros and cons of something? So let's start with this one. Have a look at this on screen. Profit maximization as a business objective is likely to lead to a business operating with its lowest possible cost. There's a statement. Now, before you worry about that statement too much, it's accurate. It's true. This student who's written this one, that's a point they're making. But what can we say about profit maximization? If we were sort of analysing profit maximization as a business objective, could there be anything that we could say was maybe not quite so positive as operating at the lowest possible cost? Requires a little bit of a response this time. It's not just a letter or right. Thank you to Bones who's come in with ethical issues. Bones, I tell you what, it'd be brilliant if you could give me an example of an ethical issue that you might want to discuss. What do we think? Now, Oliver's coming with negative externalities. Again, Oliver, if you know anything about externalities, tell me which ones it might have. Give me some examples. Rat has said a loss of product quality, and that's a really good point, Rat Swarm, because what can happen is as businesses increase the size of their operations, they start to have those diseconomies of scale, and sometimes they take their eye off the ball and the quality can start to diminish. Joe has come back with environmental damage. Thank you. Connell said about sustainability. Now, I've asked you for a few words and you've just given me one word. Connell, you're absolutely right, but if you can give me any more explanation, that would be wonderful. Waitman Pro has said, yeah, with lower costs, you can argue definitely that quality may start to diminish. If we are cutting the costs, then we may see a lowering of the quality. Tom's come back with low payment of wages. If we're trying to cut costs, it might be that we're paying low wages. Now, again, Tom, the question back to you would be, so what's wrong with that? That sounds like could be a positive thing. So what do we think? Reng, in response to that, I guess, or following that up, negative externality, taking advantage of workers, and the example there is Nike. Wonderful. Potentially pollution from Lowen Cross as well. Kieran said about less efficiency because workers are less motivated. I think that's a really good response. Thank you for all those. Brilliant stuff. Let's put on something that we might have said as well. All of your responses have been fantastic. Operating at low cost could cause a greater damage to the environment. So we could go down that route. We know, for example, that the water companies, in order to cut their costs, in order to profit maximize, have been putting their waste directly into the rivers, directly into the seas in the UK, and that's had a really big impact, negative impact upon the UK economy. Right, let's try another one of those. Have a look at this one. An economy like that of the UK may benefit from allocating most of its resources to outputting from the tertiary sector, as it may lead to higher wages. Now, you'll be aware of the fact that we've got primary, secondary, tertiary sectors, and you'll know that the UK is one of those developed economic nations that primarily uses the tertiary sector. And so there's lots of positives, and the big one would be the fact that people in the tertiary sector are likely to receive relatively high wages. But what is the negative side of that? What could you tell me that's not so good about the fact that the UK may be reliant on the tertiary sector? Let's see if we've got any responses there. I'm just having a look down on the chat window. Let's see if we get any responses to exploitation of workers. I still don't know if that's whether it's a response to the last question. Let's have a look. I'm just having a look, see if we get any proper right. What's Fortnite put? Focused on tertiary sector will lead to decreasing market share of primary and secondary, leading to increased imports. Thank you. So importing primary products and secondary products, potentially at a higher cost, potentially with the danger of not being able to access them at a later date if there's any kind of economic shock. Great answer for that. Thank you for that. Zara's talked about decreased employment, and that would be a strong argument, I think, Zara, if you put that and explained why, particularly regions in the UK which have relied upon the primary sector and secondary sector in the past, who now don't have the jobs available to them, can't immediately swap across to the tertiary sector, we could see decreased employment. Limited exports opportunity from WAMP. Again, I would like to see a greater argument in an exam, and we don't have the time here in the chat window to do that. But I'm going to agree with you, yes. What we're doing is we're specialising more, and it's only if other people want our insurance policies or our banking that it's of value. That great guy has used a wonderful economic phrase, structural unemployment. We may see structural unemployment in the UK. Rat swarms come in with a depends on imports as well. Thank you for that. Loss of jobs due to redundancies. Thank you, Waitman Bro, I should say. High costs of production. What other suggestions have we got here? May lead to food insecurity, Connell. That's where we were going before, weren't we? If we don't have enough primary sector, we don't have grow enough of our own food or farm enough of our own food, we may end up having the problem of having to get it from other countries and relying on those countries, which is okay, but brings in problems. Now, One's gone with inflation. And again, I'm not going to disagree with you, One, but I would need a little bit more explanation. I think Vessi is coming with some cost-push inflation due to higher costs of raw materials. So we may be dealing with we may not have a secondary sector as much anymore, but yes. Well done. Brilliant stuff. Thank you for those responses. Let's have a look at our next little question then. Yeah, sorry, there's a response here. An economy that relies on tuition may become dependent on other economies of the provision of food. That's the point we were getting to, weren't we? Right, we've got one little activity left for you. Pass you back to Nikki. Nikki, you're there, aren't you? You're there. Let's go for this.
Right, we're going to look at on balance. So it's so important to remember to do two sides of the argument. Examples are very, very, very much looking at, can you balance your answers properly and in an informed way. So we've popped down this question here because it's tricky, as you've only got a few, it's quite fast paced and you've only got a few letters you can type. Let's go for one advantage first. So let's just have your answers for one advantage. Outline one advantage of division of labour for a car manufacturing company. So Reng has gone in with higher output. Maisie said higher productivity. Higher productivity, Maisie, that is such a good answer, but I'd like to know why. If this was an exam question, of course, hopefully you would be explaining it. Now, Kieran said increased efficiency and specialisation. So you've given me the advantage and the disadvantage. So I'm concentrating on just the advantage at the moment. Felicitas, specialization. If you have specialization, then workers get better and better at producing that one smaller task, and therefore they become more productive, higher productivity, increased output. Bones has said specialization of labour. Oh, it's shot up. I've lost yours. Advantage, improved efficiency, so higher production, Joe Bain said. So everybody's coming in for this higher output, higher productivity, because you're more efficient each day. Higher productivity leads to higher output as workers can specialise, becoming more efficient and skilled in their task. Absolutely perfect. So, John, can we have a look and see at our advantages? We've put a couple. Firstly, an increase in productivity as workers become more specialists at their tasks. So we've put the explanation in there. Now, we've also put the employer is more able to afford specialist training. Now, we've said that because we're hoping that as a result of that greater output, there will be more revenue. Therefore, perhaps we can afford to have more specialist training, or even better quality capital, more modern capital for the employees to work on. Okay, let's have a think of some of disadvantages. So some of you had already started to put through, some of you are saying a bit repetitive, boring, repetitive, says Felicitas. So other people are saying that due to specialization, Bone said workers get bored and can leave, decreased efficiency resulting in limited career growth. What a fantastic answer. Well done, you. Workers become unskilled in other areas. Joe, what a great answer. You become very, very good in your own, but you lose skills elsewhere. De-skilling. Fortnight, the company could be over-specialized and therefore demand, i.e. specialize in the cheap car market sector. Remember to put your application in your answer. Could be a competitive market limiting their sales. Zara's de-skilling in other areas. Yes, remember to make that clear, Zara, that it's de-skilling in other areas. Okay, let's have a look and see what we've got here. As disadvantage, fall in motivation levels may lead to fall in productivity. And we have also got the firm may suffer from high turnover, so labour turnover rate, point that quite a few of you made, caused by a lack of motivation. And of course, each new employee brings additional cost to the firm. That's training, recruitment costs. So can you see that we've started to make that chain of analysis there? We've gone on to say what the problem is. Well done. Some absolutely stunning answers there.
You're not wrong. Now, listen, let's start by saying a big sorry for all the little technical gremlins we've had tonight, but we've soldiered on. And boy, quite a few of you have stuck with you. So massive thank you to everybody who stuck with us, and a huge thank you for the quality of the answers. Absolutely brilliant. Some really good responses, Nikki, tonight, I thought, particularly when we got to some of those slightly harder questions towards the end.
Yep. Really good, and some really great longer answer questions.
Wonderful stuff. Now, listen, if you found tonight useful, please do give us a thumbs up in the YouTube window. That'll help us get a message out there. This is the first of our 2 sessions that we're concentrating on micro. So we're back again on Thursday. Nick and myself will be back on Thursday, 5 o'clock again, to carry on throwing a lot more little micro-based questions at you. Quick reminder though, the PowerPoint we've just been using will be available for you to download in literally about 30 seconds time. This has been recorded so you can always watch it all over again. From Nikki, from myself, thanks once again, and we'll see you hopefully on Thursday. See you very soon. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.